Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. We play favorites all the time, don't we? We play favorites. We might pretend like we don't, but the truth is that we do. This is the theme of one of my favorite episodes of the most recent season of The Crown. We play favorites, whether it be with our children or our students at school, or maybe our friends, or maybe our toys, we just play favorites all the time. It's part of human nature to play favorites. It's very hard not to do that. And what Jesus is talking about here is he's talking about playing favorites. He's talking about playing favorites if you had two masters. So imagine that you have two masters who are in control of your life, and you're going to play favorites with them, aren't you? This is what Jesus says. No one can serve two masters. And then he explains, either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. But Jesus isn't just speaking about favoritism in a general sense. He's speaking about it specifically in our relationship with our money. He says that money becomes a master to us. And so that means that for us who worship God, we have two masters. We have money and we have God. And we'll play favorites with those masters. We'll play favorites and we'll pick one over the other, depending on the situation, what's going to serve us best. And the unfortunate truth about playing favorites between God and money is that money will probably become our favorite. Because money serves an immediate appetite, right? Money serves this. We just have a tendency to forget that amounting all of this stuff won't actually make us happy, because the world promises us that it will. And we tend to forget that consumer therapy might feel good for a moment, but it's just like junk food. It feels good for a moment, but really it just leaves you feeling empty and unsatisfied. But it has an immediacy to it. And so if we play favorites with money and God, we probably are going to pick money. Not just that, money is bad because it's not satisfying, but money also, the things that money buys, Jesus has already pointed out for us that those things aren't lasting. A few moments ago, Jesus said, don't store up for yourself treasure on earth where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal. So those things that money buy, they aren't lasting. They're not permanent. There's no security in them, which is exactly opposite to what you get if you worship God and you treat him as your master. He gives you treasure in heaven, which is permanent and it is lasting and it won't fade away. It does provide security. So we have this challenge on our hands. We tend to play favorites, but the thing that we might favor is actually the thing that's not best for us. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, how do we not play favorites here? How do we avoid playing favorites? Well, I actually think the solution is quite simple. The solution to not having to play favorites between God and money is that you just demote money. The problem is created by having them both as masters. And if you want to get rid of that problem, then you just remove one of the masters. So God becomes your master and money becomes your servant rather than your master. It's a really simple solution. You just demote money. It reminds me of this episode of The Simpsons where, come with me if you don't actually watch The Simpsons, but for those of you who do, this will be a vivid memory. Homer he sees a vending machine and he decides he's going to steal a can of Coke out of the vending machine. So he puts his arm up into the vending machine and he grabs onto the can of Coke and he goes to pull his arm out, but his arm is stuck. And so he's stuck inside this vending machine. And the rescue team come to rescue him, and they tell him they're going to have to cut off his arm because they can't get it out of this vending machine. And then just before they cut off his arm, you can hear the chainsaw rearing in the background. One of them says to him, "Homer, are you still holding on to the can?" And Homer looks up and says, "Yeah, your point being?" Because Homer was stuck in this machine simply because he wasn't willing to let go of the thing that he put his hand in there in the first place. I actually think that's a very helpful image for our problem with serving two masters. The problem is that we still want money to be our master because we like the things that it promises us. And so that's why we're not willing to demote money to become our servant. But the problem with money is that money makes a great servant and it makes a terrible master, whereas God makes a wonderful master. He's the master that was meant for us. He's the master that we were made to have. So the solution to our problem is that we should demote money, use money to serve God rather than letting money use us. Have a good day.